Okay, so in February, I was laid off from my job. And I sent a tweet out on Twitter asking who else was unemployed in New Jersey. As you can imagine, I received a huge response. So my husband was actually laid off right before I was. So now we're living in an apartment and we're both laid off from our job. And I sent this tweet out and I got this huge response, and I turned to him and I said, we need to do something. We need to do something. What are we gonna do? All these people are telling me right now on Twitter that they're unemployed. Let's do something. So he said, well, let's all get together and we'll go to Panera Bread and we'll have a cup of coffee and we'll share stories and struggles and successes. So I did. Now, also at the same time, a friend of mine from Twitter knew that I was out of work. And so she forwarded me an email from Parade Magazine looking for 5 people from across the country to chronicle in their job search. Oh, this is pretty interesting, Parade Magazine. So I sent Parade Magazine an email and I said, hey, I'm looking for a job and I'm trying to, I've been using social media as a way to try and get a job. I've been telling everybody that I'm looking and being visible and let everyone know that I'm looking. Can you please help me get a job? And B, I'm trying to bring the unemployed community in New Jersey together. So they liked what I was doing, and they selected me as one of 5 individuals from across the country to chronicle in their job search for 3 months. So this was great. So they selected me, they paired me with a career advisor by the name of Fred Ball. So Fred and I emailed back and forth a couple times, and I had sent him my resume. And he took a look at it, and we finally got together for the first time. And we sat down, and he had my resume in front of him. And he said, Katie, I see here on your resume that you've worked for a bunch of different nonprofit organizations. I said, yep, I have. I've done membership, and I've planned events, and I've done lots of communications. So that's terrific. Tell me, what are you good at? What do you love doing? What are you passionate about? It's a great question. So I sat back for a second and I thought about it. And I mean, how often does somebody ever ask you, what are you passionate about? Right? I mean, my resume says I'm great at nonprofit management, but what do I really enjoy doing? So I thought about it for a second and I said, well, Fred, I am a really, really great singer. Because it's true, I am. I'm a really good singer. Did you see me? I stood in the front when we did the carols. I was right up front. Okay, so I'm a really good singer, and I toured for a year with a group out in California, and I've done tons of theater, and I have a musical background. So, well, okay, I don't know if that's necessarily going to get you the job that you're looking for, but I said, well, you know what? I really love social media, and I love branding, and I love public relations. And he said, and I said, I've been branding myself online already because I was on Twitter and I had a personal blog and I was attending different blogger events. And he said, all right, well, this is great. While you're looking for your nonprofit job, keep this social media thing in the back of your head. Maybe you want to apply for a social media manager position here and there. I said, all right. So I continued meeting with Fred. And in April, I was on CBS's The Early Show discussing social media and unemployment. It's terrific. It's great. And while I was still looking for a job in nonprofit management, that's what my resume says I do, while I'm looking for that job, I continued to grow my NJ Unemployed group. And I started holding 2 to 3 seminars a month, or sometimes a social event with my unemployed group. And I formed a website, njunemployed.com. And I reached out to career experts to supply the content for my website because I wasn't a career expert. So they sent me articles. So now I have a website, and now I put on a whole bunch of seminars, and I partnered with the Princeton Library, and I'm holding events here. And most recently, I went to testify at the Assembly Labor Committee meeting in regards to a bill that would help the unemployed community in the state of New Jersey. So I'm looking for jobs, and I'm growing my NJ Unemployed group, and in June, someone I knew from Twitter reached out to me and said, hey, you want to help me do some social media consulting and some PR work? All right, sure. And then that person referred me to somebody else. And I said, oh, well, I got a second client. And then I got a third client. I said, wait a second, 3 clients? I'm not supposed to be looking for a job anymore. I'm supposed to be starting my own business. Now, if you would have asked me in February, I would have said, there's no way I'm starting my own business. That's crazy. I'm going to work for a nonprofit organization. But I started my own business in June. And, you know, there's so many stories out there right now of people across the state who have used social media. I'm going to cry. There's a lot of people out there across the state who have used social media to get a job and to have found their passion. I recently wrote an article about it on my unemployed website, njunemployed.com website. But there's a woman by the name of Judy Moriarty. Her Twitter name is @realestatechick. You know her, yeah. She landed a job through LinkedIn. And she also does a lot of recruiting where she's at. And so she uses LinkedIn as a recruitment tool. And then there's a girl by the name of Allison Pryor. She's @locallylove. She's a fairly recent college graduate. She was a communications major. And she was looking for a job, and she was branding herself online. Guess what? She got a job as a social media manager from all her chatter on Twitter. It's terrific. And then here comes the tears. So then there's a guy, his name is Joe Himmelfarb. And he holds a special place in my heart because he was only out of work for 2 months. 2 months. Which is a really short time right now in this economic crisis to be out of work only for 2 months. But Joe is an active member of my NJ Unemployed group. And what he did was every single day, for 2 months, every day, he attended a networking event. Sometimes he attended 2 networking events in one day. But he did that, and he made 1 to 5 contacts. He got 5 business cards at every event that he went to. And he went home, and he went onto LinkedIn, and he looked them all up, and he connected with them online. So he networked with them face-to-face, and he networked with them online. And in 2 months, he landed a job. I mean, I'm just so proud of that, and I just think that that's amazing. But I tell you this because, you know, my whole journey led me to figure out what I'm passionate about. I am passionate about helping the unemployed community in New Jersey. I am passionate about my social media company. And I just want to ask you one question before I go. It's Fred asked it to me. What are you passionate about? Thank you.